Hi. Well, this is quite a mess. This is my video to show you everything that I ended with carrying in my backpack on the Appalachian Trail just probably 10 days ago. It took me a while to kind of rest up and get ready for the next video. So I just piled everything here about a week ago, or when I got home, and now I'm looking at it, and yeah, it's quite a mess. So let's start first, kind of just, we'll work our way down the pile. The clothing that I wore typically was that orange shirt, pair of shorts, pair of underwear, and I had at the end 5 socks. Not 5 pairs of socks, but 5 socks. At one point I had 3 socks, and I bought another pair that was going through Maine, because who doesn't want 5 socks? So I was able to rotate those. It got really wet in Maine, at least early on, and so that kind of saved my feet from blisters. So in my pack, on the outside of the pack, I had my North Face shell, or that little North Face shell rain jacket that I picked up from Kittery Trading Post in June. I had traded out my precip, my Marmot precip, for this because the precip was way too big for me. I had lost 35 pounds on the AT, and which was fine. That kind of right-sized me for the trail, and I was able to finish strong because of that. But this is a small North Face shell. I picked it up, like I said, at Kittery Trading Post in Maine. That's about 45 minutes from my house. That's was always with me, rain or shine. And actually it did rain, so I was able to wear it a few times. I think you might have seen me wearing it in some of my videos. The next thing is my Decathlon 4-class. This is my down puffy jacket. It's pretty disgusting right now. I did not clean it, and it shows, because I wore this several nights after finishing the hiking for the day. Couple days I started off with it because they were colder days, so I wore this a little bit. That would go in my pack last, so it was easy to get to. This is my infamous food bag, and in my food bag I had several Ziploc baggies to put my food in. And I did have one episode where I talked about the food that I ended up with eating. It was, I would say, fairly lightweight food at the end, but you can look back for that. It was basically Spam, protein bars, and Cliff bars, as well as tuna. I kept it really simple, and I think that people need to heed that warning. Oftentimes we go in to get resupply, and we're hungry. We're always hungry. And so we end up getting a little of this and a little of that. I tried to keep mine simple. I would have 2 Spam in the morning, 2 tuna packets in the evening, and then I would carry 6 bars. Occasionally I might throw in some peanuts as well, and I would eat that throughout the day, and whatever I had left, I would eat that as part of dinner. And as the hikes went on towards the end, I was able to finish the day with still plenty of food left, and then I would just have that for dinner. So I kept it easy. But this is a large size Hilltop Packs bag. It is waterproof, but I did also package everything that I needed in Ziploc bags. Just I was able to separate out days, and I could just grab a packet, throw it in my pouches for the day. So that was pretty easy. What went with that? My spoon, which I realized that licking it clean is not clean. It just looks clean. But I did try to wash this every time I went into a hostel. Every once in a while in a hostel. So be better. In this, I also had my Colgate. I'm a Colgate guy, not a Crest guy. We can argue all day, but I think that I was branded as a young child as a Colgate guy. And then my toothbrush. I had my bear hanging kit. Something just fell. Which it became more of a rodent hanging kit. I just used a regular carabiner, not one for climbing, but just a lightweight aluminum carabiner. My rock bag and my arborist rope. Word of warning, this is hard on your hands. So if you have a heavy bag and you're pulling this up, or after you've slept through the night and you're retrieving it, this can be kind of tough on your hands because it can feel sharp. I liked it. It was able to go over the branch pretty easily, but there are better bear hanging ropes, I'll have to admit, that are a little softer on your hands, but still provide a smooth surface to go over rough tree branches, which we found harder and harder to, or they were harder and harder to find over time. I did not keep this in the food bag, but I'm going to put it in the food bag. This is my toilet paper. Again, I kept it in plastic baggies. I would hang my Ben's DEET. I use DEET. I know that that's probably not great for me, but I used it sparingly. I don't feel like I got bit often, but one day I was just like itchy all over and the mosquitoes were out early that day. But I tried to use this sparingly. This was my second one for the whole trip, so it's not too bad. Ben's bug net, I just kept this in my pack. I did not open it once. Several people around me were using their bug net. I didn't feel like it was necessary. There were flies, the 3 or 4 types of flies that you got. You had the ones that hung out in front of your face. They didn't do anything other than bug you. Then you had the black flies that would come and attack your eyeballs or try to get down your throat, which happened actually while I was filming one of my videos. And another time I got one in my right eye, and as I was getting it out, another one went in my left eye. So I tried to walk while I was still using this, getting this one out, but had to stop walking because, yeah, 2 flies in the eyes don't make for good hiking. I did carry a second spoon, but that's because a friend of mine left trail and left his spoon behind, so I just carried that for him. I'll get it back to him. That is primarily, and then food went in the food bag and then got hung most nights. There was my clothing bag. My clothes, like I said, it was everything that I had on, and then I had these are 3 of my socks I wore. And they still look fairly clean, but the only thing else in my clothing bag was a base top and a base bottom, just very lightweight, I want to say polyester. And that was necessary after a rainy day. I'd strip out of the other stuff, put this on, and was dry in my tent or sleeping at a shelter. It was important to have that. I was thinking of not using it, but it's, I don't know, a half a pound or a pound, maybe a pound and a half of clothes, which is not bad. Again, this is a hilltop pack pack. I want to say this is their medium size. Remember also that it was August when I finished, so as you went north, or as we went north, the temperatures in the morning started to drop just a little bit, so having some extra layers were helpful. That's all I needed because I would use my puffy jacket as another layer. I had gotten rid of my micro fleece by that point and didn't feel that I needed it because I was just comfortable sleeping in my puffy jacket if I needed it, or hanging around the camp with the puffy jacket. So that's all the clothing I had. This again is my Durston Kakwa 55. I did notice some wear spots. I have a hole on the bottom there. A couple other spots were worn. I think in one of my, no, anyhow. So I use this. I enjoyed using it more towards the end. The lighter my pack got, the better this felt on me. I still had some shoulder pain, but I could work around that depending, on how I was carrying the food. And I'll go through how I put everything in this as well. But I have my Nilo fume bag, which really worked out well for me. I know there's, several other versions, but that kept everything dry. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. Because I'm on Coumadin, because of several blood clots in my past, I kept an INR machine. This is what it looks like. So I would check my blood once every week to two, kind of close. As the weeks went on, I checked it more frequently. And it helped that I knew a doctor on trail. He could at least advise me. He couldn't do anything to, get himself in trouble, because he wasn't my real doctor. Oh, there it is. This also went in my food bag. It's just a lighter, an emery board, and I don't know if you can see that, but my little knife and some Neosporin. I use this very infrequently, and then for some reason I put it in there. This includes, this is just some medical stuff, which I also have. I separated out my Tylenol, Benadryl, and Coumadin. Occasionally I was taking Advil early on, and I switched out of that because it's not advised while you're taking Coumadin. So anyhow, so that would go in this bag. I have KT tape, a few other tapes and bandages in here, very light. And then I have an EpiPen, which I am allergic to bees, and I have the sticks, the stuff for my, what are these called? The strips for my checking my INR. So that all went together, and they had a special spot. I'm just going to put this in here. Normally it would be in my food bag, just in case I had to cut anything or whatever. So that would go there. My electronics. At the end I carried let's see. I have my Nightcore NU25. I might have used this 5 to 10 times while on the trail. I think at the end I wore it in camp because we got up so early. It was like 4:30 in the morning on kind of as the trail ended. I think it was Baxter State Park. Have my handy dandy notebook. Wonder if you guys know that reference, if you've got kids. And then a pen. I did have a mechanical pencil that didn't make it, but this pen I got from a former thru hiker who was working at Mount Washington. Her trail name was Silky Smooth. I believe Silky Smooth. So if she's out there watching, then thank you again. My electronics bag included some various wires, and then 2 power banks. I used those going through the 100-mile wilderness. Other than that, I did not need 2 power banks, and because I was filming, doing video, I wanted to make sure that I had enough power, especially going through the 100-mile wilderness where I was not getting charged up. So I'll place that there. Selfie stick. This was very helpful, as you would know. That went on the outside pocket next to my water bottles, which I carried 2 700 milliliter bottles. They were smart water bottles. This is only an example. I think I used this early on and then I discarded it for the smart water bottles. There's no difference. It's just that I'm a little OCD and I wanted 2 smart water bottles instead of 1 of these and 1 smart water bottle. That's that. We got that. My Garmin InReach Mini, I would use this to message my wife on the few times where we had absolutely no service, especially later as we came through the wilderness. Service was spotty at best. My Uberlight, NeoAir, Thermarest, Uberlight, NeoAir, Uberlight. I bought this about halfway through. It worked well, and then if you watch my videos, it deflated every single night. And when I got back, one of my neighbors came over and he goes, "I was tired of hearing you talk about inflating your pad." He says, "You need to fix it." So I'm actually going to put in a good effort to try to fix this. Otherwise, I'll call Thermarest and see if I can get a replacement for it, because it was a nice pad. And this was the pump sack, which I used purely as a pump sack. It's the Thermarest pump sack. I didn't put other things in until the last night, where I think I put some things in to take out of my pack while I hiked. I did use a Tyvek sheet to try to protect my pad. I kept this on the inside of my tent, not on the outside. I wasn't too concerned about the bottom of my tent, and if there was a hole in the bottom of my tent, I just wasn't too concerned about that. I was more concerned about the sleep pad, and this did a good job. Not a great job because I still got a hole, but it was cheap. I got it online. When I got the hole, the hole in the sleeping pad, I decided instead of getting a whole new sleeping pad for $200, I got this. I cut a few, about this much, about 3 sections off, and used this under my sleeping pad so that when it did deflate in the middle of the night, I still had some type of pad to keep my hips from hurting, my greater trochanter on my sides. So I only use that at the end. Normally I wouldn't carry this. I would love to get to the point where this would be good enough for me as a solo thing, but I might be too old. I don't know. Oh, one last item of clothing. I have my UNH hat, which dreadfully needs to be cleaned. This is just a little fleece hat. I've had this forever. I did not go to UNH. It is about 20 minutes from my house, but I got this at a golf tournament, which was really good because I've used it hundreds of times. My Durston X-Mid Pro 2. I am not going to take this out, but this did a great job. A couple things that I want you to be aware of. While I was able to find somewhere to sleep with this as a two-person, a very large footprint, I could have had better spots to sleep if it was a one-person with a narrower footprint. With that said, it was very comfortable because there was so much room in there that I was able to keep my backpack in, everything. I would unload most things because all of my sleeping stuff was on the bottom of my pack, and so I was able to unload everything and keep it organized at night. Here's my Be Free Catadine. This is my third one, and about a week after I got it, it started to leak out at the top, which didn't really change how I was filtering. Just got my hands wet. So it wasn't bad. This thing, whoop, I'm not going to show you that too long. That was my pee bottle, which was my old Be Free Catadine. As an older guy, I need a pee bottle. But anyhow, this worked very well. It's a 1 liter if you're interested in getting that. I do have links of everything down below in the description of this video if you want to check those out. Most of them are affiliate links, so I will get a nickel or two for everything that you buy off of that. Outdoor Vitals pillows. I use 2 of them, and both of them have slow leaks. One is slower than the other. I don't know which is which. So I had to inflate those throughout the night, and I think you heard about that. Here's the tag that I got in Baxter Park. I'm number 238. I started the trail as number 753. So that's telling me a lot of people probably dropped out, and I probably passed some people, and many people passed me. Anyhow, Mountain Smith. These are my trekking poles and used for my trekking pole tent. They did a really good job, and they are very well worn. There's no tip, and I think the tip was probably 1.5 inches higher. But is what it is. There's that. And then my Zen Bivy. The Zen Bivy did, it's a 25-degree quilt. It did a good job. I tried to get rid of it when it got warmer, but then I didn't replace it. I replaced it with a section of a sleeping bag, and that didn't work. This provided plenty of warmth. It's 25. You can get away with a 40-degree bag, and that will lighten your load. That will lessen your load. It won't really lighten your load because often the 40-degree bags go to synthetic. This is down. Down is lighter than synthetic. So when I went, I could have gone from a 25 to a 40, but it wouldn't have lightened anything for me. So I just kept this, and then because it's a quilt, I was able to keep one of my legs out as I went. So this is how I would start my morning. I'm going to just quickly fill up my bag, and you'll see. It's not going to be perfect because I don't have any food. So there's my bag. I would then put in these different items. I would put in my kind of the next heaviest thing. Usually it's a food bag if I wanted to keep it down low. Actually, nope. These are the items, sorry. So I put everything sleeping related and not how I'm doing it now, but I would place all the sleeping stuff in. And towards the end, I started bringing my food bag up higher because that seemed to help. So I would put my clothing in, my electronics, if they were heavier than my food bag, which sometimes they were, electronics and my medicine pouch. And then I would put my food bag in. And then my tent. No. Yeah. Tent. And then my warm weather gear. Which you shouldn't see that anyhow. So that's how I would do that. I would roll it over, making a mishmash of this. And buckle it up. I would have these items next, which they stayed in. I had my jacket here. My bug net stayed there, although I didn't use it. At the end, I kept this out just because we were getting up so early. But for the most part, it stayed in my electronics bag. I would have my filter in the front. And I would stuff it in that pocket. I put my Garmin, I would put it in, and then I would clip it in. I'll show you this in a second. So it would stay clipped, but it was in its own little pouch, kind of protected that it wouldn't fall out or I wouldn't accidentally do anything with it. On the side, right here, I would keep my wallet. Because that never gets open unless you're in town. I would put my my pee bottle in here, and early on I had a foam thing, but I got rid of that and then I replaced it with this, and that doesn't fit in there. I occasionally would put my trekking poles in here if I wasn't carrying them, and I would tighten it up with this strap. On the other side, that's where I kept my water bottles, and I had this there as well. So my phone was kept in this pouch. I did have my glasses in there, but that was just too cumbersome. So I kept my glasses in my front pocket with my earbuds if it was going to be a day where I could listen to music, or I listened to The Hobbit as an audiobook. My food for the day, my snacks for the day would go in this pouch, and I would put other snacks in the back. I would then put my shoes, my camp shoes here. I'll just put one of them, you'll get the idea. And then attach the foam pads up at the top. Like I said early on, I didn't carry the foam. It was only because the Uberlight was deflating, but that's how that went. And there you go. That is everything I carried in the last, pretty much the last month. of the trail, and it was 50s at night and upwards to 80 degrees during the day. Some buggy days, some rainy days. The weather for us wasn't all that bad. As far as water crossings, I did not change out of my shoes. I just walked across all the rivers in my shoes and socks. Some people would take their socks off. I felt like they were such nice days that I would just cross, and whenever we stopped for a break, I would let my socks dry out a little, and because of the sun, they were damp, but they weren't ridiculous. And at night, we could really dry them out. And the shoes that I wore, the Topos, which I'm going to talk about that in the next video about my shoes. But they did a really good job at getting rid of water and drying out fairly quickly. So if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I will be talking more about what's next in upcoming videos, because I'm no longer hiking the Appalachian Trail, because I did that, and I'm going to be pivoting. So I'll let you know about that in future videos. Thanks, and thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me for these last 5 months, if not more.